Hello. Okay, the video I'm doing today is about the supermoon. Now, if you've been on Facebook or any social media over the last few weeks, you've probably seen these really lovely Photoshop pictures of mountains with a giant moon behind them talking about the supermoon that's happening on the 22nd to the 23rd of June. Now, as anyone who spent a lot of time on pagan-orientated social media will know, not everything on there is totally reliable. And if you've spent a really lot of time on there, like me, you might have developed a slight bit of skepticism about a lot of the stuff you see. But the reason I thought I'd make this video was because, although when I first saw these posts, I initially looked at it and thought, yeah, bull. Actually, no, it's correct. It's also known as a pedigree moon as well. Actually, it's a supermoon or a pedigree moon. And basically what it is the moon's orbit around the Earth isn't nice and round like this. It's actually sort of elliptical, like this. Squished. So, at some points on the moon's orbit, it's closer to the Earth than others. It's actually quite a bit closer to Earth as well. It's something like 220... No, it varies between about 220,000 miles and about 250,000 miles, I think. So yeah, so there's quite a big difference in that. And basically what that means is that it will look, when it's in the sky, it'll look between 15 and 30% bigger than it normally does. And a supermoon is when that point in its orbit coincides with when the moon is full. So that's what it is. So I thought I'd do a blog post to go, yeah, it is actually a real thing. It's quite nice as well because this one that is coming up is happening on the 22nd, 23rd of June, which falls just after Midsummer, which is quite cool. So if you are going to do any sort of full moon rituals or magical working, then this would be such a good time to do it because, as you know, the things that full moon are normally associated with are things like, gaining stuff, bringing new stuff in, is the general feel of it, as opposed to a new moon, which is kind of getting rid of stuff. So you've got that energy that's there already of bringing in new things, attracting stuff that you want. And of course, Midsummer has a huge amount of phalo. And in my path, obviously, because we work with crossing the veil, that kind of, hedge riding element to it, there's a huge amount of phalo associated with that. So you have, this night for crossing the veil, meeting the other folk, and you also have this element of a full moon there as well. So it is actually quite a worthwhile thing to note and to pay attention to. I think a lot of people do work with sort of moon phases not all of them, but a lot of people do work with moon phases. And with it being so close to Midsummer, I think it is really something that is worth noting and worth working with. Even if you haven't got anything specific in mind that you want to work towards or want to do, little things like charging stuff, cleansing stuff by just leaving them out in full moonlight. There's lots of little midsummer rituals. One of the classic ones, which I believe originated in Ireland, is where you walk around a midsummer bonfire holding a stone. And it's basically like, if you want something to happen, you tell it to a pebble. And you walk around the fire and, while you do, you're holding on to the stone and you're thinking about what you want. So to do that and then to also sort of charge it with full moon energy when you have this sort of increased presence of moon energy would probably work very well. You also have things of capturing moonlight, which is often done with mirrors. Using mirrors to reflect moonlight on a certain object, looking at the moon through a mirror as well. Although I'd used moonlight in mirrors to reflect onto stuff, usually when I looked at the moon, I looked at it directly. And I read a very good book earlier this year called The Witch's Mirror by Levana Morgan, where she talks about actually focusing on the moon through a mirror and looking at it in a mirror. And it does actually focus. I don't know if it focuses your eyes more, that doesn't make sense, but it does sort of frame it and it does, reflect the moonlight directly onto your face if you've got it behind you and it's reflecting into a mirror and then into you, and it just increases your focus on it. I think it's a very good tip. So so you can do things like that as well. So yes, Supermoon, surprisingly for random photoshopped stuff that turns up on pagan pages, is actually a real thing. So go and enjoy it. Bye.